Hello, welcome to tonight's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Brandon.
All right, and tonight's episode's all about disappointment. And I know if you're watching this episode,
Well, right here's the biggest disappointment in the room.
No, you were a surprise, not a disappointment. So
that's what they all say.
Yeah, as your mom likes to say, she says when she came up, she goes, "I'm pregnant." I went, "Pregnant? Huh? Pregnant? Huh? Okay. But no, we're going to talk about disappointments and movies and TV shows and
Video games
stuff we got really pumped for that just came along and it just knocked our feet out from underneath us as we fell to the ground screaming. Sometimes it just knocked you to the ground. Sometimes it was like, and then sometimes you were just like so angry when you finally got it.
You're like, yes, I got it. This fucking sucks.
But as always, tonight's episode is brought to you by
Are You Game?
The best video game comic book collectible shop in all of Piqua, Ohio, located at 124 North Sunset Drive, Piqua, Ohio, 45356. As always, Strixhaven is out now, so come buy your Strixhaven magic from me.
Remember, every purchase goes directly to the people who need it. Us.
So, all right.
100% of proceeds go directly to the people you bought it from.
Yes. No, because that wouldn't be right, because I get, if I buy one, and it's, say, a $20 item, I order it, it costs me probably $13. So, $13.
You can't reveal your trade secrets on camera. People are going to be like, oh.
If you don't understand how retail sales work,
they're like, oh, I want that for $13 because that's what it's worth.
$13. That's what you paid for it. And that's how you should keep businesses open. So, all right. And remember now, kids, the Saturday morning cereals brought to you by Are You Game is now on YouTube. It's another one of my. I didn't make a whole nother channel for it, so I just put it on the thing.
Just make another playlist.
Yeah,
you got playlists on your channels. You don't got to split it up across multiple channels.
But yeah, so we had to do some editing. So if you're watching this after watching that one, I am sorry. We posted the episode, then it got taken down, so we had to re-edit it and then put it back up. But I only literally got, because when I was done re-editing it, because it was still supposed to drop at 6 o'clock in the morning, I think I finished re-editing the episode and having it ready at 1 o'clock, so I still had to upload it.
Oh no.
So, but, alright. That's a disappointment. So that's how we're going to start.
We'll start with
a disappointment. I am so disappointed in that first episode that the next episode will probably be the first episode part 2 or take 2, so I can actually get it right.
We'll do it good this time.
Fuck it, we're doing it live. No. All right. So everybody has had disappointments in their life. You've gotten that video game you really wanted. You sat down to play it, and it's garbage, or it's not finished, or it's Cyberpunk 2077.
You get both for the price of one.
Oh my god! See, if we could have Joe on the episode.
Joe gave me permission to talk about his thoughts on the game. So.
Yeah. So,
my brother was a guy who's been hyped for the game since its reveal 8 years ago. When he finally got it, he was like, "Oh, this sucks."
And the biggest disappointment right now is the cats over there making noise. So,
but in terms of conversation, how about you start like you usually do?
All right. I'm going to go way back. I'm going way back. I'm going way back to the year 1979.
Whoa.
When a young 5-year-old Paul Lee had just came off of Star Wars.
And was like,
and all the Star Wars knockoff movies and loved sci-fi. and as an avid watcher of the Star Trek, the television series, and I loved the Star Trek, the animated series when it was in, and then Star Trek, the motion picture came out.
And you were like,
and I was like, yes, I'm going to go watch Star Trek. And I went and seen it. And if you've ever seen Star Trek, the motion picture, you'll understand. And now that I'm older and I look into it, I can kind of appreciate, after finding out all the bullshit they went through, I can kind of appreciate it more. It's still not a good movie. Not in any way, shape, or form. It's, but what happened is it's a movie that was never supposed to be a movie. It was supposed to be essentially a pilot episode for a TV show when they were bringing Star Trek back to TV.
Mm-hmm.
Then Star Wars hit huge. So they realized that there was no way that they were going to be able to do on TV what they want to do. So they're going to have to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, originally it was going to be Star Trek, the Phase 2.
Mm.
Which now we have Star Trek Phase 2, which is actually made by fans, which is great. But no, this movie, you find out that like Shatner was completely out of shape when he came back, so they had to keep re-editing it so that you couldn't see Shatner's girdle through his uniform. Shatner and Nimoy were at their peak of hating each other at that point. Mm-hmm. They brought in a like super vintage era guy to direct the movie. Mm-hmm. But then they kept rewriting the script and rewriting the script and rewriting the script. When they started filming, they didn't even have a script yet. Oh. So you're going into this and you're like, oh, okay, that explains a lot. Oh, and then you get the reasons why it's a horrible movie, but it's still a horrible movie.
And then Star Trek 2 came out, and
Star Trek was like, okay, we're good now, we're fine. And people give shit because it's like the even numbers and the odd number movies. Mm. The odd number movies are horrible. The even numbers are good. Mm. But it's bullshit because I like Search for Spock, and that's 3. Mm. But so it's 1, 5. Yeah, it goes from there. I like the Undiscovered Country, and no, I go way back because, like I said, I was 5, and I was all ready for like, oh yeah,
Star Trek big screen with a big budget.
Yeah, and you're thinking that you're going to get something really cool, and to be honest, I want to say that. I don't even remember how I saw it originally. I don't know if this is how I originally saw it. I remember seeing it on a Saturday afternoon in a double feature with Star Wars at the Pickwa Theater downtown.
You're riding off that Star Wars high.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I love Star Wars, and then I'm going to watch Star Trek. But it's going to rule.
But the thing is, I think it was Star Trek, because it was Star Trek and then Star Wars. Because it was when they brought Star Wars back out for the re-release. Before Empire came out. So you were getting both these in a single day.
So it was, you watch Star Trek and we're like, ugh. But then you watch Star Wars and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, Star Wars is one of the movies that I will always love. And as much shit as they give the Disney Star Wars movies, for me, it's still Star Wars and I still watch it. And, to be honest, I think the only Star Wars movie that we're going to get to this. The only Star Wars that's a real disappointment to me is Episode 1.
Everyone was so hyped for that movie. I love watching old videos of guys waiting in line. I mean, oh, this is going to be the best movie ever. Oh, this is going to be awesome.
Well, when I was, that's 1999. We were living in Troy. We went to the midnight showing.
And you're like, oh.
So we went to the Movies 5, and we're standing outside the theater, and we get in, and I watch the movie. And in my brain, I'm sitting there watching it because there's some really good scenes in Episode 1. I think that's one of the things that makes it a bigger disappointment.
It's because it has spots of good stuff.
It has greatness surrounded by mediocrity, and and you see this nugget and you think that's what it could have been. The lightsaber battle, the pod race, but for every pod race we got Whizzer and stuff like that coming from, and I feel bad for that kid. I feel so bad because that kid got his life destroyed because he made that movie.
Then the guy who played Jar Jar, I feel bad for him.
But the fact is that we got Darth Maul. We got those epic lightsaber battles. That shit was awesome. We got a great musical score.
But the prequel soundtracks is some of John Williams' best work, I think.
Mm-hmm. Although
Duel of the Fates is one of the most iconic Star Wars musics.
No, yeah, but for me, it will always be Empire Strikes Back will be his best work. Because it's got the Imperial March.
That's true.
But could you imagine if they put the Imperial March in where in A New Hope where Vader blows the doors open and marches into the... That would have been awesome, but we get that in Empire Strikes Back.
Like I said, there's some bits of greatness in the whole prequel trilogy, I think, that, like, the problem is that George Lucas himself admits he's a director, not a writer.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, like, he did some really interesting thing. Everybody knocks the sand line from episode 2. And for good reason. It's a really funny read from Hayden Christensen. It's a funny line. But when the scene after his mom dies, there's a callback to that where he like grabs like a fistful of sand after that, and he's just like, and it's just like it's honestly like a good like that visual bit there is pretty good.
There's
and it's like
visually okay. I'm gonna go to another disappointment. Sorry, we'll go to another disappointment. I haven't given you a chance.
I want to talk about episode before we go on to the next one. I still want to talk about the prequels a little bit more, mainly because the Disney trilogy has made people go back and be like, you know what, the prequels were good the whole time. Prequels were never good.
You know what?
But
people.
But there's, like I said, there's bits and pieces of the prequels that were like, as a whole, the prequels were just a bad trilogy of movies. But like I said, like George Lucas is a guy who I can honestly, the theme of the prequels is something that's really interesting because it's about the rise of the Empire, and a lot of George Lucas's real life beliefs kind of go through into, because it's honestly one of the best scenes in episode 2 is towards the end of the movie when the Clone Wars like really begin.
Mm-hmm.
And like we see, the clone troopers in their white armor.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear like it's not the Imperial March yet.
No, yeah, it's a slight.
I think it's called like the Might of the Republic or something. It's called like the Republic March or something in the official. That's the name of the track given.
Yeah,
but it's not the Imperial March yet. And it's a good scene in a bad movie, because I think
my whole thing is that 90% of episode 1 is bad. There's that 10% that is fucking brilliant.
I honestly love Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon.
You got great You got great people in that.
Ewan McGregor was perfect.
Ewan McGregor as what's our saying? We want to make it better. Add Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
So you have Liam Neeson is great as Qui-Gon Jinn. You have Ewan McGregor who is phenomenal as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He brought so much charisma to that role.
Yeah, you had Ray Park's voiceover is, his voice is dubbed over, because he's got a hard Scottish accent. But he is great in that movie, and to be honest, Ray Park's not great in much of anything. I mean, no offense, Ray Park, but
He gets a lot of shitty roles.
Yeah, he gets. He
was in the KOF movie.
Yeah.
If you've never watched the KOF movie, don't.
I own it because I own bad
video game movies.
But no, him in the lightsaber battle at the end, when he looks like a caged animal. When the force fields are up and he's like walking back and forth and he just looks like he's just staring holes through them and he looks like he's stalking them like when you see a big cat in a cage with like a piece of meat on the other side of that cage. That cat is just staring at that piece of meat, walking back and forth, waiting for its time. That's what it looks like. He does a great job at that.
Like he's a good like face actor. He's a good like.
Well, you know he can.
Didn't he get hit on by Ray Park?
Yeah. It's a different story. That I'm not gonna say I did, but it sure felt like I did. So you know, and then you go to episode 2, and for me,
episode 2, in my opinion, is the worst because out of the prequel movies, because it's not enough funny bad stuff, and not enough legitimately good stuff at the same time.
Well, mine is that when it comes to this, I love
sure
the
it has
ending.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah, it has Christopher Lee, and Christopher Lee will always be for me the.
You could put him in like a trauma film, and he would like kill it.
Christopher Lee would like, yes, I'm phenomenal in everything I do. I even make horrible movies seem better just because I am.
Wasn't he in like this like really trashy like vampire movie?
Oh no,
back
The Howling 2. And I don't care what anybody says. That's a garbage movie, and I love it.
It's a very like
it is so bad, and I still love it, and I own it, and I'm not.
There's a werewolf movie, but they go to Transylvania for some reason.
Yeah, and that's
why I was thinking it was a vampire.
It's got Sybil Danning, and she just keeps showing her boobs throughout the entire movie, and there's never anything wrong with that. Well, maybe now, but I don't know. I haven't seen her in a couple years. I mean, last time I saw her, she was still pretty good looking, but that was a long time ago. But Attack of the Clones is about 75% bad and 25% good because I love the end of that movie. The arena scene where all the Jedi show up, and then when the clones start coming in at the end, you know, that I loved. The lightsaber battles and stuff like that at the end.
I'm not a fan of the final Yoda battle because Yoda just around. Like. It's not even the fact that he's using like it's just the fact that like it looks like Christopher Lee had nothing to work with. Like he probably did, but it looks like he didn't have like a visual stand-in for Yoda to work with.
He probably just had a ball on a stick, which is what they tend to do.
And he like there's really no physicality to that fight. It's just them going and then Christopher Lee just going.
But the best thing ever is, man, watching that, and when they finally have when Obi-Wan gets knocked aside and Anakin picks up both lightsabers, and you're like, that's the first time you get to see anybody fight with two lightsabers.
And then he gets his hand chopped off.
Yeah, but then you get to Revenge of the Sith. And
Revenge of the Sith is honestly the best of the prequels,
and I love Revenge of the Sith. That's a movie that I can still sit down and watch to this day. And to me,
Joe has a harder opinion on it, but.
Yeah. But to me,
it's still a rough movie. Don't get me wrong, but it's easily the
least
bad one.
For me, it's probably the one that goes the other way. I think that's got about 25% bad and 75% good, because the whole just. I mean, I hate to say this, just watching all the Jedis die is brutal. Like,
it's very clearly part of a vision that Lucas had when he first visioned up he wanted. This was going to be a movie. This is a trilogy that sort of, much like the original Star Wars, it grew up alongside. That's why Anakin starts off as a kid.
Yeah,
because he wanted kids to watch it. And to grow up watching these movies and to see, like I said, Episode 3 is where George Lucas's beliefs are most prominent. I know you don't like getting political, but Star Wars, war.
Yeah. Well,
The original Star Wars movies were a tribute to like a lot of like those war serials that he watched as a kid.
yeah, it was his.
Like that's where that's where a lot of the stylization comes from.
Well, because he watched, he originally wanted to make Flash Gordon, but Flash Gordon was taken, so he ended up making his own Star Wars. What was funny is that he was supposed to be filming Apocalypse Now, and then while they were trying to do Apocalypse Now, he was going to do Apocalypse Now. This is what's crazy. This is the most insane like George Lucas story ever. George Lucas was going to film Apocalypse Now, guerrilla style, in Vietnam during the Vietnam War.
What
Yes, you go watch the documentary. Was it in Heart of Darkness or whatever? But it's Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas were going to make Star Wars together, or make Apocalypse Now together, and so George kept working on Star Wars while he was doing this, and they kept taking too long, and kept taking too long, and kept taking too long, and George Lucas started working on Star Wars, and then Star Wars became in Star Wars, and so he's like, I'm good, and he never
go make your war movie.
Yeah, he goes to go make a war movie. So, and that's pretty much what happened.
But Star Wars, like, it's very much like a story that like a propaganda film would tell. The plucky, he joins up with the good guys to battle the not Nazi threat.
Yeah.
The prequels are a much more like somber, less heroic tale because it's about the rise of fascism in a like democratically world.
It's like,
world.
and this is how democracy ends, with thunderous applause.
Yeah, like,
and that's a great line.
Yeah, that's a great line. That's perfect. That's an amazing line. And it's like George Lucas has been open about, like, in episode 3, the relationship between Palpatine and Anakin. George Lucas once infamously said in an interview where, like, someone joked, like, after Dick Cheney got surgery, like, oh, Dick Cheney's Darth Vader, and Lucas looked at him and said, no, Cheney's the Emperor. And it's like, if that doesn't tell you what Lucas thinks about Lucas thought, like, he was making these movies when the Iraq War was starting up, when and he looked at what he had done with Star Wars, the original, like, him and all of his, all those people who helped make Star Wars. Everybody wants to credit Lucas with everything, but nowadays, a lot of the original movies are, there's a lot of more equal credit now with who.
Well, one of the things is that people like to put those 6 movies on George Lucas.
They were very much a team effort.
And Star Wars: A New Hope, which was, to me, was Star Wars. Episode 1, 2, and 3 was George Lucas. That was him writing. That was him directing, whatever. Irving Kershner was the director of Empire Strikes Back, the best Star Wars movie. And
his wife went through and re-edited his script for the original movie.
Yeah, because it's nothing is just him on his own, and I think that was one of the problems with Richard Marquand was the director for Return of the Jedi. Yet again, not
Lucas.
Not Lucas. He was the executive producer. Same way with Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones was Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. George Lucas has only directed technically a handful of movies. In his, he directed THX 1138. He directed THX as a student film. He directed American Graffiti.
Has he done anything?
That's his writing. Is all
He
his.
still-
That's created characters by and whatnot.
He still has a legitimate hand in Star Wars, believe it or not. Him and the guy who worked on Clone Wars and the guy who worked on The Mandalorian. Him and
Dave Filoni.
him and Dave Filoni like worked.
Okay.
Even post Disney buyout, he's still.
Yeah. See, he did short films, and then he didn't do. It was all school stuff until THX 1138 in '71. Then '73 was American Graffiti. Then A New Hope, and then he didn't direct nothing until '99 with Phantom Menace. So realistically, he only did,
last thing he directed.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, no, shit, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 movies. So
There's video documentary short in the video shorts.
yeah, he did. He directed like little stuff off to the side, but that's pretty much it. And people want to give him all that, but I'm like, dude, he just that was not him. Same way with Willow. He produced Willow. Ron Howard directed Willow. So, but
yeah, the story the prequels tell. The prequels have a great thematically.
mhm.
Like it's an incredibly interesting story. No one else would want to tell.
Well, here's the thing. It's shot well. It has a great overlying arc and a theme.
I will die on this hill. The finale of episode 3 on Mustafar is unironically great.
Yeah.
That scene where like Ewan McGregor is acting his ass off.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, like it's a pretty good scene. It's really like the fight, the music in that finale that like that Obi-Wan like even though his best friends become a monster, like he still can't bring himself to finish him off.
Yeah, and I mean,
and it's that decision that leads to the birth of Darth Vader.
I'm gonna go out on this limb. I'm gonna go out on this limb here. Would it be worse? Just kill your what was your best friend, or leave him to burn alive?
There's literally, if you look during the scene where it's just the music playing, Anakin mouths just "kill me" because he's burning, and Obi-Wan can't do it.
No, it's like, I hate you. He wants him to kill him. That's like when it comes down to it. When you start looking into the older stuff as Vader goes along, especially in Return of the Jedi, in the stuff that happens in Rebels and whatnot that they do with Vader, and especially with right now in the Marvel comics, Darth Vader comics. Darth Vader knows full well he fucked up. And his hatred for himself is what basically fuels his anger. There's a great one with a few years ago, a bunch of years back, Dark Horse put out Star Wars Tales, and it's Darth Vader versus Darth Maul. And what it is these Sith Lords basically clone Darth Maul to come back to fight Vader because he was supposed to be the original. He was their chosen, not Vader, not the Emperor, what the Emperor chose. And they're having this big battle, and Vader is beat. He's on the ground, and he's like on his knees, and Darth Maul is sitting there, and he's standing behind him, and he's like, "You were never, blah 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 blah." And I can't remember what it was. Like, it's been forever since I read it. But Vader turns his lightsaber and ignites it through himself, and gets the Darth Maul clone. And Darth Maul is like, "What do you hate so much to give you so much power?" He goes, "Myself," and then like kicks him off into lava. So it's like the Vader is it's one of them guys who
he's an extremely complicated villain.
Yeah, he's so far in that he knows there's no way he can get out.
In those original movies, he was more so like he was a bit more generic in those original movies.
Especially the first one.
Yeah. You know, he's the big bad. He is.
He's even the big bad.
Yeah.
Tarkin is the big bad.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you got those people who look at Star Wars, and they look and they go, well, why the hell is Vader listening to Tarkin? Now you watch the Clone Wars cartoons, and you're like, oh,
that's Tarkin.
They have mutual respect for each other, even then, and it's like, oh, okay, so okay, he listens to him, so, but he still
What's great?
Doesn't like him, but
what's a great detail about the Clone Wars is that there's a character who is just straight up one of the characters during the meeting scene in A New Hope. Mm-hmm. It's that same guy. The guy who voices that character is the same guy who narrates the beginning, like the sort of that opening of the episode. Because it's reading like a propaganda film. Because it's like the Republic.
The Republic fights, but that guy just passed away recently, I believe.
He did? Oh.
I believe so. To go back.
There's a disappointment.
There's been a lot of disappointments. It was like finding out that Twiggy and Cousin It, Felix, just passed away. The small person who played in Battlestar Galactica, and that was disappointing. So,
but we've been going on about Star Wars.
Okay, well,
here's a big Star Wars disappointment. It's a bit of easy pickings because everyone and their mom has been beating this dead horse. But the Rise of Skywalker.
Part of me really wanted to love that movie, and to be honest, I don't think it's as bad as Episode 1. My whole thing is
my thing is that it's a movie put together by a committee.
Oh yeah,
not by people who wanted to make a movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's Tom Kane was the narrator for that. Come on. So, when you start getting into those guys, maybe I think somebody else died recently. Nope.
No, he's still all right. No, good. No, all right, that's good.
No, okay. Who am I thinking that died recently? Somebody from Clone Wars passed away recently. But as I was saying, is I don't know. We'll look at it. I'll find it later. Completely lost the track of doing this. Okay.
We went on a whole big Star Wars tangent.
Okay. All right. You know what? We're going to take a break and we're going to come back from Star Wars. And I'm gonna get up.
Maybe I'll be able to bring up something after Dad.
Yeah, I got to do one thing because we were talking about cinematically being beautiful and then being a shit movie. I got one thing, but
all right,
we're gonna take a break and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back after these messages.
There's lots of fun on the Funshine Festival on TV 33.
Get in shape with movement and motion. That's you. Showing the world what you can do. Get in shape, girl. You love the feeling.
Get in Shape Girl is a complete exercise program for girls.
It's so appealing.
Next exercise. Keep the beat with Bango Bop's weighted bracelets.
Get in shape, girl.
And movement and motion, rhythmic ball and ribbon.
Get in shape, girl.
From Hasbro.
It's new Kool-Aid coolers with 20% juice. You can chill it, spill it, splash it, cooler. Swing it, flip it, flash it, cooler. Icy fruit is super juicy. Kool-Aid coolers make it cooler. Rock it, roll it, rack it, cooler. Snack it, six-pack it, attack it, cooler.
Icy fruit is super juicy.
With 20% juice. Kool-Aid coolers make it cooler.
Hey kids, is your afternoon kind of boring? Well, let the Funshine Festival put a zing into it. Starting at 2, it's the heroes you can trust, the Super Friends. At 2:30, they're a gang of cosmic cowboys ready for any laser draw. They're the Galaxy Rangers. Then 33's resident Fat Cat hits us for fun and mischief. At 3, it's Heathcliff.
Thanks, guys.
Join the afternoon Funshine because TV 33 loves kids.
And we are back. I'm gonna talk about this though, real quick. We always joke around. We always do that. We'll be right back after these messages, and we also joke around about the time for timer, the thing.
The hunk of cheese.
Yeah. See, but
Dad referenced that a lot growing up.
Yeah, I
had no idea.
So this is we're going to put this into an episode down the road somewhere when I find one. They did these little things on Saturday morning to get kids to eat healthy snacks, not eat candy and stuff like that. So they had this character named Timer who came out and taught you how to make like
little. You take a cracker, you put a piece of cheese on it, you take another cracker. There's a wagon wheel.
Yeah, and he taught you how to make popsicles. So you put orange juice in a tray, you put cellophane across it, and then you put toothpicks in it, and you put them up, and then you had a healthy snack. But I literally can sing the
hunk of cheese,
the Timer theme song or whatever you would call it, and I'm like, oh, why do I remember this? This is horrible. But
it's just ingrained into your brain. Like
same
they're
way
gonna do a CAT scan, they're just gonna see the shape of that guy. In their brain.
They're gonna. I always joke around that if anybody could hear my thoughts, it would be scary because it would be literally my self-created comic books that I've just jotted down and not actually ever put, there's a little bit of artwork done for them. All the stuff I grew up watching, the toy commercials and all the just insanity, because it's all going on all simultaneously. I joke around about being like a manic person because I have to keep going. I got a ton of shit going on at any given time. That's literally why I do this podcast. And now I start another thing. I run my complete shop.
Don't make what's supposed to be a hobby into your job.
No, it's just part of being my I have 100,000 things going on at any given time. But that's one of the things is I always say that. But somewhere you're going to listen and somebody be listening and they hear that hanker for a hunk of cheese, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Then it's going to get stuck in their heads.
Yes.
And then people are like, "No, he infected us."
They'll be like, "When your get up and go has got up and went." What is in this head? No. Okay. So,
turn it off.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Okay. My other disappointment. Me and your brother both will agree on this one. Well.
If it's Joe, I think I can guess. Does it start with an A and end with Alien Covenant?
Yeah. Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant was so disappointing. And mind you, I went through Alien Resurrection and Alien 3.
Joe liked Prometheus.
I love Prometheus. I think Prometheus is a great movie, except for one thing. Weave. That's like, we were watching, me and your mom were watching a show a while back, and it was for the racing thing where they do it's like Ninja Warrior but for cars on Netflix, and one of the executive producers is Charlize Theron, and Charlize Theron went to these people's houses, and she talked to like this one girl who's like the drift queen of like wherever she was from, and I was like, if I ever got to meet Charlize Theron, I'd be like, so at the end of Covenant, why didn't you run left or right? And you just ran straight as the shit was falling.
Well, you said Covenant. You meant Prometheus.
Prometheus. My bad. Fuck. Sorry. So as the ship is falling,
is panic. Sometimes when you're freaking out, your brain don't really think right. Sometimes you're just like, I gotta run, and you don't think to like.
Yeah, but I've panicked and had to run before. Bull was involved. I'm just saying.
How'd you piss off a bull?
The bull was always pissed off.
That's true.
So, it's a long story for another time. But no.
Was it when you used to work on farms?
It helped out on farms, yeah. So, but no, we were joking around. I was like, I'd have to look at it and go, what? That was the direction? Run straight as the ship falls on you. Don't run left. Don't run right. Don't run left. I was like, get the fuck? Seriously. But that's
if you want anybody to blame.
But yeah, it's all
blame the director.
Yeah. But no, we have an ongoing joke because who's in that movie? Idris Elba. And Idris Elba always makes movies better. So
you know who else is in that movie? Another guy who always makes movies better. Starts with a Michael and ends with Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender. No. He couldn't make Alien Covenant better. He wasn't even the best. He's still bad.
Hey,
the only time
fingering.
fingering. Yeah.
The
oh my god.
scene in cinema history is with himself.
the worst part about it is that movie is beautifully shot. Like the scenes where the ship is coming into the planet, and you just see that big epicness of it, or the beginning of it, you know, and you just watch that movie, and you're just like,
Michael Fassbender, like, being with himself, it looks... You can barely tell if there's any effect on it. Because it's just such a seamless effect.
Yeah, but it looks well done.
It's just shit.
It's just a horrible movie.
Why is the alien in full lighting and we can see it very clearly and it takes away any and all mystique?
The fact that it's standing up, and that scene got me when I first watched it. And I went back and rewatched it again because there's sometimes I'm like, man, is it really that bad? Or is it just in my brain that I was disappointed?
And you were just like, yep, it's that bad.
Yeah, it's that bad. So the scene where the alien's like standing upright like a human, that bothered me. And it still bothers me to the... At first I thought, oh, that's just kind of creepy because that means that there's still some human left in there from when, you know, it becomes... I was like, oh, that's the human in it. And then I watch it, I'm like, yeah, that's just not... No.
Well, the thing is, aliens have always, like... Back in... Like... Weren't there a couple scenes in the older movies where, like, aliens would, like, rise up and stand?
Yeah, but no, this literally is the alien, like... and it's jarring. It's when you watch it, like I said, when my brain wanted to try to make it make sense when I first watched it. Then my brain went, yeah, no. That's not what that's for, and that's not what that's about. So, but yeah, Alien Covenant is and I know there's a couple of my friends out there who give me shit because I hate Alien Covenant. I literally own it because I'm a completist with OCD, and
you will buy even the worst movie out of a series just because you own it.
Yeah, so I can have all the Alien movies because I own all the Alien and Predator movies because that's what you do. I own a lot of movies that I don't like because I own all the other movies in the series. So it's just my brain. It's how it works. So people, if you've ever met me, you'll know. Okay, Brandon, now it's your turn. Now we can get...
Now I can finally do my thing.
Yes.
Something that disappointed me immensely. I know we've talked about it in the previous episode I was on. As a kid, I was excited for Dragon Ball Evolution. When I was a kid, I was like... I still am a huge Dragon Ball fan.
Yeah,
but...
No shame in that. Everybody likes Dragon Ball.
But...
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I was like, oh man, it's like Dragon Ball, but real. Wow! And then I watched it, even as a kid, and kid me had no taste whatsoever. Kid me would just, like, gobble up anything in front of me. But even as a kid, I was like, this movie isn't good.
No, it is. I remember
This
sitting
movie
there
isn't good.
and getting that, and we were sitting down to watch it,
We were in the theater.
and it was like, this is painful. And I took you to go see the original Pokemon movie.
The original Pokemon movie fucking rules.
Yeah, but no, the original short that was before the Pokemon movie, where there's not one word of English spoken. All it is Pikachu, Bulba, Squirtle, and you're just like,
Start zoning out.
as a human adult at the time, I say adult in quotation marks.
You just zoned out.
Oh, dude, I did so bad because it was painful.
You were disassociating. You were like astral projecting.
Yeah, it is.
You're just like,
my other big disappointment with that is how much some of them people put effort into that movie.
James Marsters.
James Marsters. Yes, he put a ton of effort into it.
He's a huge Dragon Ball fan, and he was like, I'm gonna be Piccolo in Evolution.
And then, you know what's an even bigger disappointment is the fact that there were still talks of a sequel because that movie made money. It had like a $30 million budget and made back almost $60 million.
Well, to be fair, we also don't know what marketing cost and all that. And
Yeah.
that's only just the raw cost of a movie. Sure, it looks like they made double their money back, but
Yeah, it was 2009. God, you were 12 years old.
when I was 12, I liked anything you put in front of me, and I hated
not
that movie.
necessarily.
I hated that movie. The Daredevil movie
Hey,
is a funny bad movie.
I love the Daredevil movie just because it is, as much as Ben Affleck hates it, and everybody is that movie.
It's a funny bad movie.
Yeah, it's a great bad movie.
Funny thing is, both it and Catwoman have a really bad, funny basketball scene.
Yeah, that was a huge. You know what? That was a movie that I watched the trailer for, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna be horrible. The Catwoman with Halle Berry, and I liked Halle Berry, and at the time, and I'm like, that's gonna be bad. That's gonna be horrible, and it was fucking atrocious, and so that wasn't a disappointment. I knew that was gonna be bad. The other one that
Cat burps in her face, gives her cat powers.
The one that was really, really, really hard for me was I wanted to love it so much because it takes one of my favorite storylines from a comic and puts it in a live action in a movie that I never thought we would see, and that was Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. It came in, and everything about that movie was, because I liked Man of Steel. A lot of people didn't. I liked it. Yeah, it's. But I figure it's that universe's Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the DC cartoon or the DC comic book version of that, because it's the DCEU. It's the DC Extended Universe.
It's its own timeline.
Yeah, it's its own timeline. It's its own universe. And I'm sitting there, and of course, man, I seen Affleck in the Bat armor, and I'm like,
he's got the look,
dude. He's Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like Bruce, and people go, well, he doesn't play. I'm like, he's a big dude. Affleck's 6 foot something. Mm-hmm. He's a good sized guy. He got really jacked for the role, and he played the grizzled old Batman, because he's not Batman in his 20s. Mm-hmm. He's Batman in his 50s. Or late 40s,
he's
early
meant
50s.
to be Zack Snyder's version of the Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Yeah, he's
like that's what the costume's based on.
Yeah, he's Dark Knight Batman, about 10 years removed from being the Batman that we get in the movie, or in the Dark Knight Returns. Mm-hmm. He's not quite there yet, but he's getting there. Mm-hmm. And we got that Batman who.
My thing is.
That's 2.5.
My thing about that movie is that Batman, like, Zack Snyder, if he really wants to make Batman a killer, he should make a Thomas Wayne thing.
Oh yeah, me and Joe have talked about that too. And I thought we were going to get a Zack Snyder directed Thomas Wayne Batman at one point. Mm-hmm. I thought we were going to get that. I thought we were getting that in Flashpoint, or at least not scripted or directed, but maybe produced or something connected with him.
Like, Zack Snyder, if you're watching this right now, I hate what you did with the Batman character, but if you were to work with Thomas Wayne, I think there's something there. Mm-hmm. I think your weird whatever you got going on with Batman in your head, it would work with Thomas Wayne more.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm down for his new movie. The Army of the Dead. Mm-hmm. That looks like gonna be the shit. And the worst part about it is I know people in that movie.
What?
Yeah, they're stunt people, but I know some people in that movie.
That's cool.
But it is. It's gonna be on Netflix here in like a few weeks.
Army of the Dead. I've not heard about that.
Yeah, we'll watch the trailer when we get done today before you go up there. Yeah, it drops in a month from now. Zack Snyder.
The zombie outbreak in Vegas, but a mercenary team is using the outbreak as a cover to rob the place. That's a cool idea.
Well, no, it's that evidently the zombie outbreak started in Vegas, and they were able to contain it in Vegas.
Mhm.
And so this guy's like, all that money's still there. So he basically goes, okay, I'm going to pay you guys, give you guys the weapons and everything you need to get in there. You go in there, get me that money, and get out of there, and then so forth and so on. Shit happens. So
That's a cool concept. Actually, I'm excited for this now.
But my problem is that Batman v Superman, I get shit on a lot because I was not a fan of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman when she first popped up.
Gal Gadot. I think
Now-
it's Gadot.
She bulked up. She got thick because I just thought she was way too skinny for that. When she did Wonder Woman, she got
A little more bulked
more
up.
bulk, and when she did Justice League, she got bulked up a bit. Now that we did Batman or Wonder Woman 1984, she was thicker. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's not in. I think that a Wonder Woman needs to be.
Woman needs to have some muscle.
Yeah, she needs. She
She needs to look like she can, even without her super strength. She needs to look like she can tear you in half with her bare hands.
She was
'Cause
always,
that's hot.
Wonder Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman's always been a big muscular. Not like the old school woman. She was always dainty, but as of recently, she was like a
Like I said, Wonder
like
Woman
a
needs.
fitness instructor, not like a bodybuilder, but like somebody who's definitely like got tone and muscles and stuff like that, and has a little bit of,
A little bit of everything. Got the flexibility, got the strength, got the core.
yeah.
I don't have a core. I just have a beer gut, and I don't barely drink beer.
I got a pretty good core. I did. I got to do it again.
I need to
But
start
a
doing
while
ab
back,
work
I did at the beginning when quarantine hit. I started working out at home, and I didn't have a whole lot of equipment, so I did my exercise, my weight bench, stuff like that. I did the bands, but I did crunches every day.
Crunches are good for you.
The one day I wanted to see how many crunches I could do. I did 4,000 crunches in like an hour and a half. I'm not even saying it was totally an hour and a half. I mean, I kind of lost track of time. I literally put a movie on and was doing crunches while the movie was on, and the movie started and ended while I was doing crunches. So, but I would do, I do sets of 400. So I do 400 and I pause for about a minute, and then I would do more. And I'm getting there, and I'm like, 3,995, 3,996. And then I was like, and then I was like, 4,000. And then I was like, and Joe comes over and goes, "Are you okay?" I went, "Nope. I don't know why I just did that." I'm in so much pain.
It's much like those scientists say. You spent so much time thinking that if you could, you didn't ask.
If you should.
You should.
And I did it. And that's one of my things. My dad asked me, because I told him about doing it. He goes, "How long did that take you?" I was like, "I don't know, like an hour and a half." I lost track of time. And the worst part about it, before I did all that, I biked 12 miles on an exercise,
On your exercise
on
bike.
my exercise bike. So I'm like, what the hell did I do that for? Why did I do that? And actually,
to prove it to yourself.
Actually, it is to prove it to myself. I'm getting older, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting older. I'm getting gray. I'm losing my hair, and I was always one of the ones who was always kind of like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm vain as shit. All right, I don't look it. I know that.
You're gonna be like that guy, that old guy from the Billy and Mandy episode, where he just keeps earning bonus years because he keeps fit and healthy. And Grimm's like, "Oh God, this sucks. Here's your bonus years.
Well,
Can't reap you."
The worst part about it is I looked at Mark a while back, and me and him were sitting there at the gym. I was like, just think, Mark, we used to work out when I was in my early 20s, in my late teens, early 20s, when me and Mark were always hanging out all the time. I mean, he was working out in his late 20s. And I was like, if we would have continued doing this, you wouldn't have knee problems or back problems, and I'd be fucking jacked right now. I'd be like, Doom, gun show. Ah! And his worst, man, is because now I'm finally getting where I got it's bad right now. But like in the morning when I get up, or actually when I get, I do my thing, I get up, and I've got abs now, and that's just weird to me. I don't have them now because I literally just ate a little bit ago, and now I got a lot of water. So, but it's one of the ones where I'm like, what the hell happened? Why ain't I this fit in my? This is disappointment. This is a big disappointment here. Why was I not this fit in my 20s, and now I'm this fit when I'm almost 40, almost 50? What the hell happened?
Like I said, you're gonna be earning those bonus years.
Oh, yeah. My goal is that I want to go back to working out.
You're like Picard and be like freaking Picard. Wait,
Patrick Stewart?
Patrick Stewart's old. He doesn't look as old as he is.
Oh yeah, it's
and it's because of like he's like this vegetarian, like he keeps fit and healthy.
Well, that's like he didn't eat pizza up until about like 5 years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. There's a video of him like trying pizza for the first time. He's like, "Ooh, it's good."
See, I'm not gonna lie. Well, your mom started eating, having vegetarian dinner, food, blah blah blah. I made a mistake. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not. There's no way I could become a vegan. I
love cheese too much.
I would starve to death and die. I love cheese. I'm a protein guy. I gotta have protein that tastes good. You know, that's like the people who eat like just broiled, tasteless chicken breast because it's all a lot of protein. It's good protein for you and stuff like that. There's no way. Your mom makes broiled. She does the
she adds spices to it.
She adds spice to it. I like it, stuff like that. I'll add, like tonight we had shredded chicken, and
chicken's a good protein.
And I put a bit of chorizo in it to give it a little spice. And but whatever. But your mom made meatless meat tacos for herself. Well, I didn't know you brought the meat down and the meatless meat. And I'm making my tacos, and I'm like, I put the meatless meat on my taco. I'm like, why does this chorizo smell funny and look weird? What, are you trying a new kind? And he goes, what are you eating my meatless meat for? I'm like, oh, shit. Oh well, it's fucking tacos. Who cares? Like, it tasted fine. I don't care. But
Mom brought in like a meatless fake chicken like patty. I took a bite out of that and I was like, what the fuck?
See, my problem is
it tastes just like a fucking like frozen chicken patty you would get anywhere else, but there's no meat. You're just like, oh,
my problem is that some of this stuff could taste delicious now, but I was a frozen food manager at one time back in the early 90s. It's just like 94, 95. I was the manager. They would bring in all this different food for me to try, and it would give you stuff to sample so that you could eat it and then be like, hey, try this food. This is delicious. I like it. And they brought in the meatless hamburgers. They brought in the meatless chicken, stuff like that. But this is in the 90s, early 90s.
Oh, no. It don't taste good.
This shit is vile. It is. I'm not going to give a name because I don't even know if that even exists anymore. But
just like,
then there's stuff that was delicious that doesn't exist anymore, and it's disappointing. But your disappointing again.
I freaking tried, like, they were tater tots, but they had cauliflower in them. And those were surprisingly good. I was like, that's good.
See, that's my problem.
My thing is, it was the Bird's Eye brand, but what made it good is because it still had potato in it, but it was mixed together, so it was like the cauliflower did not stick out at all. So it's like,
that's one of my problems. That's why I'll never be like super jacked, because I do like carbs. I do love potatoes. I think potatoes are one of the greatest foods ever created, along with cheese and bacon. It's.
I can never give up bread and toast and all that.
No, dude. I used to eat 2 toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every morning for breakfast. For like 20 years. Thereabout. Maybe not that much, but there for a long time. I got OCD, so I get into a habit.
Sugary coffee drinks too.
And I start to, dude, literally this is ice. This is regular tea, and I sweeten it with green tea.
Mhm.
The natural sweetness of green tea with the regular tea makes it sweet. Has absolutely no calories in it whatsoever, and it's delicious. Mm. But I took and just completely almost left my train of thought there for a second. My problem is that I like potatoes and stuff like that. I went to I can't remember where we were at, but it was someplace like somebody's house or something for you know.
Yeah, I got a fart. I'm not
So
gonna fart on camera.
they had
You just keep talking.
the mashed potatoes that were made out of cauliflower.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, that's mashed potatoes because it looks like mashed potatoes. And I put some on my plate, and they're like, I went to like lick the spoon, and I went, what the hell? Why do these taste weird? And they're like, oh, those are cauliflower mashed potatoes. I'm like, that's not cauliflower mashed potatoes. That's mashed cauliflower. That shit's gross. I don't want. That's one of my other things is that your mom makes.
You don't
fun-
like being tricked.
No, I hate being tricked. Your grandma loves doing that to me. She goes, I remember making you eat mushrooms when you were a kid. I'm like, I hope that makes you feel happy about yourself that you were able to fool a child.
I don't mind the taste of mushrooms. It's just I hate biting into a mushroom.
There's
it's
two things.
slimy and gross.
There's
and
two
it just
things.
Feels weird to chew, and I hate it.
There's two things I cannot bite into. You know what? I've never been able to eat a mushroom for the simple fact is as soon as I bite into it and that sliminess hits my tongue and my mouth, it comes out. It's almost I can even think about it right now. I can feel it right here. I can feel just the memory of mushroom in my mouth has that right here. Onions.
Same here.
Some people like, and I get that there's onions in anything. You're not fooling me by going, oh, there's onions in spaghetti sauce. I know that, but that shit's cooked down so much that it doesn't have any texture anymore. It's just a mush that goes with the spaghetti sauce and the spaghetti.
You dice it up. You dice it up so thin that it just dissolves.
And I remember being a kid, and this get back to disappointments. This is not staying. This is staying on topic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at my friend's house. His parents are cooking hamburgers for everybody on the grill. We're all playing. I think we're playing laser tag or some shit like that. So they're like, oh, food's ready, and I come running in the house, man. We all come running. Burgers, man. I get my burger, got the cheese on it. I put some A1 steak sauce on that thing. I bite into that, and I hear crunch, and I'm like, and I just feel it. Just all of a sudden, man, I want to puke. And I pull it back, and I'm like, I spit it out immediately because the taste hits my mouth, the crunch, and
the texture of biting into it.
And
I hate biting in onions.
I spit it out into the trash can, and I look, and you can see the big pieces of onion because they made onions in the burgers, not on the burgers, in the burgers.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. It's wrong. It's just wrong. If you want onions, you cook that shit, and then you put it on the burger, your own goddamn burger.
If you need something to help keep the burger together,
egg.
Egg. Do what normal people do.
And as soon as I bit in, I'm like, and I walked over and I threw it in the trash can. I'm like, no thanks, I'm going home. I'll see y'all later because I'm hungry. So I left and went back home and ate I don't know, like a fucking chicken sandwich that I've deep fried in the skillet or something. But yeah, no, I'm. That's another thing.
We both hate onions.
No,
I can enjoy onion rings.
I can't even eat onion rings.
Even then, I'm very picky about them. I like Burger King onion rings because there's no trace of the onion texture there whatsoever.
That's because they're made They're made of like an onion paste and not out of an onion ring.
Yeah, there's no onion texture there. That's why I can eat them.
Well, that's like every once in a while you'll get the brand of tater tot that, and you got to watch it because sometimes a lot of them just say tater tots, but they have onion in the tater tots.
Oh my god, why would you do that?
And that's just their brand. It's just how they are. And I've gotten them by accident, and I've eaten them. I'm like, oh, these taste horrible. And I look at the bag, and it's like diced onion. I'm like, pitched them. I've given a dog a full bag of frozen tater tots.
You gotta watch, dogs can't have onions.
Yeah, I know that now, but the dogs like them, especially in the summertime, because they eat frozen, whatever. But
dogs can't have grapes. Dogs
They
can't
can't-
have onions.
they're not supposed to have tomato or strawberries, I think, either. But no, the problem is that our dogs were big enough; it didn't affect them. So, it's one of the ones that didn't know. So.
You gotta watch it, yeah.
So, okay. We're going to take another quick break. And after these messages...
Pogo ball is what they call it when you're hopping and bopping everywhere. Pogo ball is what they call it when you're rocking and rolling in the air. So get on a pogo and get off the ball. A pogo is the thing to do. Pogo is my favorite way to have a ball. And pogo ball's the thing for you. Yeah. Pogo ball is what they call it.
Pogo ball is what they call it.
It's my favorite way to have a ball.
Listen, guys, the afternoon stretch on 33's Fun Shine Festival is just fantastic. First, do you need any ghosts taken care of? If you do, the Ghostbusters are on the job at 3:30. Then Flash Gordon and buddies are here at 4. They're on guard in Defenders of the Earth. With an arsenal to go, these guys are all over the place. At 4:30, go with the Centurions. Come on, the afternoons are a blast on the Fun Shine Festival. And remember, 33 loves kids.
Jam! Look, new jam, new rock and curl jam. You see the greatest look and most incredible hair. When rock and curl jam is there. Wow, wow, what a smile. She's the prettiest girl. I love new jam, rock and curl.
She's prettier than ever. I love what you can do with her hair.
You can curl it up, you can tease it out. Rock and curl jam's got hair to rainbows out. Jam, rock and curl jam.
And welcome back. All right. We're going to talk about some more video games here. Because we're talking about...
I brought it up right before the break. You've talked about being disappointed by Spider-Man Web of Shadows in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were around for like the hype for that game.
Oh, yeah. I was super hyped for that game.
The problem is that game was made in like months.
Yep. Well, and I go back and look at it, and that disappointment has retroactively kind of dissipated. It's not what I thought it was going to be,
But it's still honestly
but it ends up being a good game.
It's honestly one of the best Spider-Man games, just period, I think.
The other one is that the other game that disappointed me, that I was pumped for, that I owned just because I was irritated to the fact is that I pre-ordered it, and then I had to cancel the pre-order, and then it finally came out, and you went, screw it, I'm going to own it because I'm angry and I want it. And that game is
Aliens
Colonial Marines. Yep. So
Randy,
fuck
you. Gearbox literally funneled money that was supposed to be going to that game to make Borderlands.
Yeah.
And that's just open knowledge now.
Yep. But that game just irritated shit, and I own it, and I've tried to play it.
It's just so bad.
And it's so bad. So beyond bad. And the worst part about it is around the same time we got the Alien vs. Predator game that's really good.
The Rebellion developed Alien AVP game. It's got some jank to it, but it's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
it's got one of the best playable Predators.
Outside of Concrete Jungle.
Concrete Jungle's a rougher game,
but that's for the Xbox,
yeah,
the original Xbox, and it was one of their last tier games right at the end. I don't think that game's as bad as it. I think that game's actually enjoyable, so it's not a disappointment. The other one is, I was so disappointed about it because it took so long. It got canceled. It came back. It got canceled again. Was the Ghostbusters game that ended up coming out and being actually really good? What, for the PlayStation 3?
There was the
Wii version is awkward. If I remember right.
The version that came out on stuff like 360 and PS3, they were modeled after the actors, but the version that came out on the PS2 and Wii were modeled after the cartoon the real Ghostbusters.
No, it wasn't even modeled after them. It was just cartoon versions of the character. Yeah.
They should have been modeled after the cartoon version.
Oh, definitely should have been. They should have had Lorenzo Music coming in doing Peter Venkman. If you're going to do that, you need to go all out and make this version the cartoon version and this the because they even said that basically the video game that we got is Ghostbusters 3.
Is the canon continuation.
Until now with Afterlife. And that, hey, this is not a disappointment. We're getting Ghostbusters cereal again, and it's coming soon. So
Are we going to get Ecto Coolers again?
You know we need Ecto Cooler because the last time we got Ecto Cooler was for another disappointment, which was called Ghostbusters. It's what 2000 was it 16?
Ghostbusters 2016. The problem with that movie is that they got these legitimately talented actresses, but they gave them nothing to work with.
Well,
because they just put Tina Fey, and they put all these actresses on camera, and they're like,
Tina
all right,
Fey.
do funny stuff.
It's 2016. It's Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig.
Oh, Kristen Wiig. I get them mixed up in my head.
Oh, my whole problem is with that movie is that I think the people that excelled, which is Leslie Jones, who I think is funny, and
well, the thing is,
Chris Hemsworth is freaking great in that movie.
They wanted to make a movie in the style of those like Will Ferrell comedies, where it's like 90% improv. The problem is those movies are already hit and miss.
Well, Kate McKinnon is I love Kate McKinnon. I think she is hilarious. She is one of them actors, because we talk about the actors or actresses that are the best thing about the bad movies she's in. I think she's usually the best thing about bad movies that she's in. She's one of the reasons that I still watch Saturday Night Live sporadically, is when she was on there.
But like I said, they wanted to make a Will Ferrell style, like something like Anchorman. Anchorman's funny because they actually they edited the movie and kept in the funny improv.
Well, the problem is that this was supposed to be the people that did Bridesmaids and stuff like that.
The thing is, it's very clear, especially with the way the movie is paced and the way the comedy works, is that they filmed them and were like, all right, do something funny. There was barely any script and barely any jokes written because they wanted that Will Ferrell comedy thing.
Yeah. And
it doesn't work because you can't just be like, all right, do something funny.
And I think
the best comedies are the ones that are written with jokes. Like, in the best, there was someone who said that, like, you never stop the movie to tell a joke.
No, you tell a joke in the movie.
Yeah.
Here's my thing is,
I can't remember who said that quote.
It's probably freaking Mel Brooks, because Mel Brooks.
The Mel Brooks comedies, they never stop a movie for a joke. Everything's going on, but it's all in service of the movie. Even like the goofier ones.
The fact that's a disappointment. That is a disappointment that we will never get. You know, Mel Brooks will never do another movie because he can't. Because studios would never. Well, no, he would love to do one, but you know, well, I think that the problem is that he is old, and I don't know if anybody would let him direct because he's not Alejandro Jodorowsky, who's literally the same age and looks nothing like that old. I mean, yeah, dude, he's 94 years.
Born in 1926, so
yeah, he's rapidly approaching 100 years old, and his last movie.
Wait, is acting.
Blazing Samurai. Okay, I'm going down.
Wait, Dad, you don't need to go all the way down. You can just. It's by tabs, Dad. You can just hit. Where there is. You can just hit hide and go to director. You don't have to scroll all the way down. Yeah, he's only got 11 credits on IMDb.
Yeah, there's no way that you're ever going to get another. Dracula Dead and Loving It in 1995 was his last movie, and unfortunately, I think that's probably his weakest movie, because we would never get another Spaceballs. We would never get another.
They called that movie Spaceballs.
we would never get another Blazing Saddles. He goes, that movie drops the N-bomb constantly, and it's taking the piss out of it. You know,
the bad guys are literally the KKK.
Yeah, you know,
they spend so much time in that movie making fun of racists.
Yeah, and the fact is that they're taking it, and like I said, that's a disappointment that will never ever happen.
We'll never get Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
It was the Search for Spaceballs 2. It was supposed to be Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. And then, but it was going to skip that when it goes Spaceballs 3, Search for... See, I've read that script.
4.
That's a disappointment, too. I read the script of Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2. And if you can read a script, which is one of the driest reads you will ever read in your entire life.
Because it's just actor walks into frame.
Actor walks into frame, you're lying. Actor does this, turns to face the camera, zoom in. It's all the technical shit. I laughed my ass off at a couple of the jokes, and to be honest, these were 20 plus years ago, so this is probably 90.
Back during the original leaks.
Yeah, this is around original leaks. So this is probably 98, 99, maybe around that time, maybe less. But literally, I'm sitting there, and I'm at a comic book show, and the guy next to me used to get the leaked scripts. He would have all the early drafts. Like, I read Escape from Cleveland, and I'm sitting there reading
Escape from Cleveland? Was that going to be an Escape from New York sequel?
Yeah. Literally, they refer to it in Escape from L.A.
They refer to scenes that happen in a non-existent movie.
Yes. There's a scene where he goes, you may escape from New York. You may have escaped from Cleveland. But this is... And then I'm like... So they refer to the movie that never got made.
To be fair, Cleveland is just it wasn't supposed to post-apocalyptic Cleveland. It was just Cleveland.
It's just Cleveland as is.
Everyone knocks Dayton. I've been to Dayton. Dayton's rough in some places. It's all right.
This is my whole thing is people give Detroit shit, and yet Detroit can be a shithole in some places. I would go to Detroit 100 times before I would go one more time to Cleveland. and you can take that as you want. You can say that I'm big, but man, the damn thing's right on the river, and it stinks.
That song from from the Drew Carey show where they go Cleveland rocks. They're lying. They're lying directly to your face.
Yeah.
Cleveland does not rock.
Well, they got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's the only thing in Cleveland worth going to.
Okay, this is what I want to look up. Mel Brooks was born in 1926, and I had to look up Alejandro Jodorowsky because he's rapidly approaching 102, and he does not look... I mean, that's him there. That's him right there. He does not look that old. And he was born in 1929. He's 92 years old.
He does not look 92.
And he
what the fuck?
looks like he's probably in his 70s.
He looks 70s at most.
That's disappointing. That I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad Alejandro Jodorowsky's still alive. That's freaking great. But the fact
Mel Brooks should be aging gracefully.
Yeah, Mel Brooks is he just looks like a little old man, and Jodorowsky does not look that old. And the fact that he's still working on. I forgot he wrote 2 episodes of Metal Hurlong. There we go.
Director. The last movie he did was Psycho Magic, a healing art, a documentary.
Yeah, but he's still directing into the
modern day.
Yeah. But holy crap. Okay. So
I'm just saying, we need someone to, with the level of talent that Mel Brooks... Mel Brooks, it wasn't just Mel Brooks. He worked with the people who acted in his movie. He worked with his producers,
the fact that
writers.
he kept bringing the same people back. The fact that he had a group of people who knew how to keep the joke going, who didn't take offense to the jokes, who understood that the joke was there to take the piss out of stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, the fact that Mel Brooks appears as a Native American in Blazing Saddles
Is a joke.
is a joke about like when they would have
Like when John Wayne played a Mongolian man.
and
or-
Ricardo Montalban played an Indian, or when the Italian guy who was, if anybody remember there used to be the anti-pollution commercials back in the day
With
where
the
the guy
crying-
with the crying Indian at the end, he was an Italian. Yeah. The Native
been lied
American,
to.
yeah, you feel horribly lied to as an. So that's like finding out that Roderick Toombs was not really from Scotland. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. Roddy Piper is Canadian. But there's another disappointment finding out Hulk Hogan was a piece of shit as a kid.
Oh no!
No, I never much cared for Hulk Hogan. I never much cared for Ultimate Warrior. I was always more of a
We were savage. I was a savage boy growing up.
no. I Arn Anderson, the Enforcer.
I am the creator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Cool.
So that's one of my favorite matches of all time, and I know that's a cop out because that's like everybody's favorite match is Ricky Steamboat, Savage.
Steamboat versus Savage.
Yeah. So, but all right, we're gonna go ahead because we're gonna put a long ass episode in. It's gonna be almost 2 hours when it's all said and done.
I'm gonna go ahead and scoot because we're getting to the comic reviews.
Okay.
And I don't read comics.
So all right. Hang out for 1 second because this one's gonna be a short one today because I'm gonna hurry up and tie this one up because I don't want this episode to be too freaking long.
So you want me to hurry you up then?
No, yeah, you're gonna hang out here. Okay.
All right, we got Harley Quinn. It's gonna be
No. Top picks of the week so far. Phantom of the Scan. That is a really good. Aftershock Comics has really been doing some good work right now, and it's a bizarre horror comic about a dude that may or may not be seeing like bad shit happening. I can't really describe it. It's kind of a weird concept, but it is a good book. Probably my top non-Marvel, non-DC comic right now is Homesick Pilot. It's a haunted house, haunted objects, ghosts that are both good and evil. A band called, the Homesick Pilots are trapped in a haunted house with ghosts, but they're not. Some of them aren't trapped in the house. Some of them got out. Some of them are trying to get the ones out of the house.
It's a weird psychological thing.
It's a great one and has one of the best looking, weirdest looking ghosts I've ever seen, which is I guess a female ghost made out of VHS as a head and tape as a body.
That ghost is made for you.
Yeah. Homesick Pilots that's the end of the first story arc with issue 5. I can't wait till issue 6. This one, Carmen. Carmen is, for lack of a better term, she's death. That's why she's like the
bones.
the cute girl with the pink skeleton. And this is probably one of the most beautiful
This is weird. I like it.
art. It's I don't even know how to describe
I'm
it.
barely seeing any. There we go.
The artwork is beautiful. It's I can't really post any of it because there's a lot of nudity in it for it. It's a girl who's going into the afterlife after she killed herself in a bathtub, and basically Carmen Death is like taking her on a trip, but she's traveling around and she's seeing what's going on in the world. But the artwork is beautiful. It's Gilliam March.
Image.
From Image. You cannot go wrong with that book. If you like it, well, you got to be
You like
mature
weird
enough.
books.
Yes, that is great.
And also, you got to be 18 or older.
Yeah.
Black Cat.
Black Cat. New. This is just the.
Everybody loves Felicia.
This one was kind of a bit of a letdown. I still enjoyed the book. Don't get me wrong. The last few issues have been more on my to read list than this one is. This one's still good, but not as high. All right, Maniac of New York. This is a hot one. I'm digging it yet again. Aftershock is putting out these good horror comics. basically there is a Jason-style killer running around New York City, and he just pops up wherever and murders people. But like, there's task force, they can't find him, and it's a great book. I look for that. That book is hot now. Proctor Valley Road, yet again a great horror, comic put out from Boom Comics. Grant Morrison wrote it. It's kids that are dealing with ghosts and all that. The artwork is pretty good. It's more of a cartoony style, but I can't praise that book enough. I keep trying to tell people about these books, but I don't want to give a whole lot away. I want you to go read them yourself. Space Bastards is fun. This issue was a bit of a letdown, not gonna lie. It's Derek Robertson, who was one of the co-creators of The Boys. It's in the future there is a postal service, and but it's all free for all, so whoever can get the package delivered ends up getting the money. So it's a fun book. It's over the top. There's it's done by humanoids, so it has a British sense to it. It's a fun book. Like I said, this one was the only one I think was a letdown. All the ones leading up to that were pretty fun. Hold on a second. Brandon's reading it.
I'm sorry.
The Maestro War and Pax issue 4. The issue before this was brutal as hell. And this one was kind of a bit of a letdown after how powerful the one before this was. It's still got a kind of brutal ending. But
it's the Maestro storyline.
Yeah, it's leading up to the Hulk ruling the world essentially. But that was a little bit of a downer. Right now, my biggest disappointment is the Amazing Spider-Man stuff that's going on right now. You went from one of the really good storylines to being one of the worst storylines. I don't even want to get one of the books. I don't even want to show it to you because it's so disappointing. But that is going to be my comic book reviews for this week. There's a lot more out there. A lot of good books this week. A lot of okay books and a couple bad ones. So it is what it is. All right. So, as always, remember to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, comment, all that fun crap, whatever. Let us know that you like us. Also, it started airing last Saturday. Saturday Morning Serials, presented by Group Therapy TV, is now on. So, my second show's up. So we're going to start doing more of those. So I'm going to be dropping 2 shows a week. So if you like one, you like the other, cool. I appreciate it. And remember, we're getting rapidly closer. It looks like we're going to hit it on the YouTube channel before we hit it on anything else. But when we hit 100 subscribers, I will be giving away a copy of DC Metals hardback, trade paperback. The cool foily cover to one lucky subscriber. And then if we hit one lucky subscriber on Twitter, when we hit 400, I'm going to change it from 500 to 400 because I keep getting and then I lose followers, but I don't look like they lose followers. I think they're just bots or whatever. So I'm going to give away a free comic there when I hit subscribers on our YouTube channel, or our Podbean channel, which is just slowed way down. I still got a lot of people listening, and I got people all over the world listening.
We an international hit, baby.
Dude, we're on Australia. We're on Israel. We're in...
you mean those upside-down Aussies? Got to deal with the ground harnesses and the boomerangs?
Remember, Mad Max is not a movie. It's a documentary in Australia. So, okay.
Notice his ground harness is a bit rusty. Throw my boomerang at it. It breaks. Laugh as he falls into the sun. That's one of my favorite stories ever.
So, as always, I'm Paul.
I'm the son, Brandon.
And we're not licensed therapists.
Nope.
Good night, everybody. Adios. Vaya con Dios. Hasta luego. Or as my favorite one was, Vaya con Diablos. Everybody goes, I finally had somebody look at me and go, I don't want to go with the devil. I'm like, jeez, it took like 20 years for somebody to finally catch on to that one. Jeez, it took like 20 years for somebody to finally catch on to that one.